Hey everyone, it's Danielle J. Martin, your host on Behind the Spotlight podcast. Welcome back to a new episode. You guys, I'm super excited to tell you about today's topic, and that is how to handle change. Your girl has been really transitioning during this time, and part of that comes with change. It's a word that many of us don't like to hear. I already know. Okay, so I have some tips and tidbits for you to take away for today. So listen closely and make sure you get your notes out because we're going to have a real conversation today. We're letting loose even more. And so we're going to talk about how to handle change. First of all, again, it's a word that many of us have a very hard time adapting to. It's uncomfortable. It is something that requires you to get out of your comfort zone. And you already know, that is part of becoming your better self. But something about change, right? Changing environments, location, jobs, positions, changing your daily routine is something that is very uncomfortable for many of us. It's so uncomfortable because we like to have it the way we like it. It's like your food, right? You like your food a certain way. You like your hair a certain way. Ladies, I already know, okay? You like your shoes, your clothes, everything positioned and ironed in a certain way. So anytime something or someone tries to disrupt that, you start to get tense. You start to feel uncomfortable. You start to get some anxiety. And if you're like me, you have these moments where you really start to feel internally frustrated with yourself because you start to feel as if something is wrong, something is bothering you, something is off, right? You feel it in your spirit. And I already know. Because when you're feeling that feeling, that means something is wrong. Something is off. You need to address it. It's something you are trying to probably avoid. It's something that you're trying to not pay attention to. And you're kind of in this fragmented space where you feel like, I don't know. Okay, if you are that person, if you are feeling what I'm saying right now, hey, you are not alone, okay? So I'm here to tell you, honey, you're not alone. We're talking about this together. Okay, we're processing whatever it is you're processing together. You're not alone. So I'm sharing this because, again, I'm always going to be speaking about things I'm living through, I've learned from. And so on this podcast, you are going to be hearing me talk about many things. But the main thing I will be talking about is how to live in your authentic self. How do you get there? How do you transition there? And what the process looks like. I feel like it's so easy to glorify what this self of being your best self looks like. Success, it looks great. You're, in the most happiest mood for some people, but really no one talks about the process. Like what happens behind the scenes, what happens, how does the process happen? What do you do? I mean, there's just a lot of things I feel like a lot of people just don't talk about. So we're going to talk about it here. Am I an expert? No, not yet. But we're going to be really experiencing these things together. Okay, so short story. The last couple of weeks, I felt like there was just this internal frustration with myself where I was in this I don't know space. I don't know, everything was just I don't know until I, just had a real conversation with one of my friends and, she really just said, Danielle, you are transitioning. You are processing something that you are trying to avoid. And I said, oh my gosh, it sounds like, oh, okay, yes, that's the answer. But it's something I've noticed I have a pattern. It's something I notice I have a pattern in doing. When I'm transitioning or when I'm trying to process something in my mind, I get super quiet. I get super quiet because I'm really processing what's taking place in my mind. But not even that. I start to like pull away a little bit. I start to get distant. I start to have like these small like mini reactions towards my boyfriend and my friends that don't come from a loving place. So if you are one of those people that are having these moments and you are just feeling something internally and you're like, I just don't know what it is, and you're kind of just numb and you're maneuvering through life, it's because you are processing something, you are managing something in your mind that needs to process out loud, okay? So, how to handle change, why we don't like it? Because again, it requires us to come out of our comfort zone and it makes you uncomfortable. It makes you get out of your everyday lifestyle. You guys, you're going to be okay. If it does not require you to harm yourself, okay, you are going to be okay. Okay. So make sure that you are taking your change seriously. Okay, so I'm not going to go in here and be like, I know I have all the answers and I know what that looks like, right? But I will share 3 tips with you that I think you can take away from today's episode and you can apply today, right now, practical steps that will help you in this process of change, okay? Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Step number 1. When it comes to handling change, you need to be specific. What is it that you're trying to change? Is it your mind? Is it your hairstyle? Is it your clothing? What are you trying to change? Identify it. Get clear. You want to be clear on the things that you're trying to change. Maybe it's steps in your business. Maybe it's, I want to change how I handle a situation. I want to handle my approach when it comes to speaking to certain people. What are you trying to change? Be specific. Okay. Step number 2, make a plan. If you know what it is that you want to change, make a plan to do it. Write it down. This is so key, you guys. Okay. I think a lot of people really overlook the process of writing things down. I have someone always tell me all the time that if it doesn't get written down, it doesn't get done. Okay. For those that didn't hear me in the back, if it does not get written down, it doesn't get done. Okay. So write it down, make a plan, and make it easy. I want to add to make it easy because I want you to understand that sometimes we have these long, drawn out, plans, 60-day plans, 90-day plans, and they seem so far out for us to reach that sometimes it gives us anxiety for not reaching that goal. So start small. I had to realize that I can accomplish long goal plans if I start with a minor one. Okay, if I start with, this week for 7 days, I'm going to train myself on getting up and working out. I'm going to train myself on making my hairstyle a certain way. I'm going to train myself to have breakfast at this time every single day. I'm going to eat at this time every single day for 7 days. Literally start there. 7 days. Can you handle 7 days? And then take a baby step after that and go 14 days and then 21. Okay. So before you make this long, drawn out 90-day plan, start with 7 days. Start there. Okay. And last tip of the day, take action. Once you make that plan, take action to do so. Now, I will say when it comes to these action plan steps, do not wait until a glorified day of Sunday and Monday and the top of the week to do it. You can make a plan right now as you're listening to this podcast. You can be specific and say, you know what? I'm going to eat healthy for 7 days and I'm going to start tomorrow. And this is what my plan looks like for the rest of the week from Wednesday to the next Wednesday. And this is how my eating plan is going to look. You can literally start tomorrow. Okay. Sometimes I think when we have the anticipation on waiting for so long or for a certain, attractive day of Sunday and Monday, we tend to lose sight on the goal. Okay. So again, what are the 3 tips of the day? Be specific when it comes to change. What are you changing? Be clear. And then I want you to make a plan, okay? And then I want you to take action. All right. I know when it comes to handling change, it's so uncomfortable, but it's so interesting that I've heard within the last week the same thing over and over and over. And I said, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you. Because he knows this next level of where he's trying to take me, it requires me to change my mindset. You guys, it requires you to get rid of your old self. And so it's interesting because Michael literally said that you can't have a new reality with your old personality. Hear that again. You cannot have a new reality, a new version of yourself, a new space where you're receiving new things if you are operating in your old personality. So when you think about the things that come along with change, it requires the stripping and the revealing of your old habits, of the things you have to let go, of things you can't no longer hold on to, on things you have to consciously say to yourself, I am no longer that version of me. I am no longer doing this. I can't. You have to look at that thing that you want and say no. And so understanding that when it comes to change and it comes to the idea of wanting more, you have to let go of some things. You have to. Just think about it. You have to remind yourself that in order for me to receive new things, in order for me to have new things, I have to be a new person. And that is uncomfortable. Okay. I am here with you to let you know it's uncomfortable. Your girl is uncomfortable because it's like you're having all of this anxiety and you're like, where do I start? How do I do this? And so I had to go back to the basic steps. And the basic steps for me was first identifying it. What is it that's bothering me? What is it that I am trying to change? And then I literally wrote down a 1-page paper of all the things I want to change. Now, am I going to change all of those things like within a month or within 7 days? No. Okay. But my process is to make a plan to make that happen. What is it that's giving me anxiety and how can I change the things that I have control of right now? Okay. So take this with you because it's for you. It's on my heart to give you these tools today because I know that you have the capabilities to do it. I know you do, okay? And I just even posted the other day from this quote from T.D. Jakes, which by the way, this man, honey, was going off the other day, like off, okay? I'm going to put that link to the sermon about changing your mindset and how it is so key to success and where you're trying to go. Woo. So he posted this quote in his sermon saying, progress is impossible. It is so impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. I fell out. I said, all right. I got you. That was the quote for me. That was honestly the sermon that just took me over the edge. I said, I got you. So it's on my heart to share this. This was literally just a couple days ago. Okay. So I had to change my whole podcast because I said, you know what? This is what people need to hear right here. This is it. So I'm sharing this with you because it's just, I feel my spirit is really reaching out to people that are in the space of, I don't know. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to start this. I see what I want, but like, how do I get there? And you have yourself operating every day and you're doing these minor things, but you're like, some of these things are really not a part of me anymore. So how do you break that off? You start one step at a time, identifying it, getting clear, make a plan, and taking action. All right, you guys, that's all I have for you today. I know, short, simple, and sweet. And for you, it may be cliche. It may be so cliche, but I know that there's someone out there that needs this. So share this with them, okay? Don't forget, if you're watching the video podcast right now, to like, subscribe, and comment maybe your favorite things that you liked about this podcast, or maybe tell me some things actually that you were going to change starting today. Tell me some of those things. I want to hear. If you're listening to the audio version, thank you for tuning in, and make sure that you rate this episode, whatever you feel like is on your heart. All right. So thank you guys for joining me today, and I'll see you next week.